Kind of a noticeable update today to talk about on a familiar pistol. My M&P 40 caliber got, well, if it focuses, a new barrel and a new trigger. We got stuff to talk about. For people maybe not familiar, I've had this gun on the channel a few times. A while back, I gained access to some 40 caliber ammunition, and it seemed like a good idea to purchase a pistol to shoot it. Looked through kind of all the different options. I was originally looking at a SIG 226 in 40 caliber, but it's like, well, how am I going to mill that thing for an optic? Holster are a little bit tough to find. Kept looking, and looking through AIM Surplus, they had some M&P 2.0 pistols in 40 caliber. I've shot M&P pistols a little bit, but never owned one. I see quite a fair amount of them in class, and they have a big following, so that kind of caught my attention. Looking through the options they had, I knew the M&P 1.0s were a no-go. I'd heard a lot of issues about accuracy with those, and this kind of just being doomed. My friend John, well, John's been on the channel before. He his tested guns or zeroed guns for their department, and he said the 1.0, some of them are just they're just not good. So either they group well or they don't. So knowing that it would be a bit of pulling the handle just to know if I was going to get a good one or not, or 50-50, I was like, nah. So I knew I wanted a 2.0 if I was going to do an M&P, and AIM Surplus had a deal on these. This pistol, I think, was $259, so maybe $260. They had a bunch of police trade-in magazines that were only $10 a piece. So the pistol and 6 mags was not very expensive, and my plan was just mount a red dot, shoot it until the 40 caliber ammo is gone, and then just put it back in the safe until I need a 40. When I got the pistol, I also wanted to mount a red dot on it. I sent this one to my friend Vince, Stonebridge Gunworks. He milled the frame, milled the slide, did a rear sight delete, and then this is set up for the RMR SRO pattern is what it's cut for. So I installed a Holosun 507 comp and shot it for quite a bit. The other part, the internet let me know was not good, but I quickly found out at the range. The trigger that came in with it it's a 2.0 trigger, but apparently it was one of the early ones. The trigger itself looks like a hinge, but it also has a hinge kind of in the middle of it. People call it a hinge trigger. It's kind of heavy and not super great. So marksmanship fundamentals, it was definitely a test of grip to be able to shoot the gun straight, and even just slow fire, just kind of trying to roll on pressure and bullseye shoot with it is pretty rough. So something that was definitely testing my grip and making me pay attention while I shot it. So my friend John saw that, and he happened to have one of the second generations or later model M&P triggers. So it's still an M&P trigger, but it just didn't have that kind of joint in the middle, over that hinge in the middle. So it just hinged from the top, but the trigger was all one piece. So noticeably lighter and more crisp. I shot the gun a few thousand rounds with that trigger and really liked it. That was a noticeable improvement. So same deal, just keep shooting the gun. No issues. Really, this gun's never, I say never, knock on wood, as far as light strikes, jams, anything like that, no issue. Mainly shooting 125 grain frange ammo through it. So then one day, I was checking my email, and as it turns out, the owner of Apex Tactical, or one of the owners, is a fan and emailed me and offered to install a barrel. So it's like, yes, I'm interested, but this gun's a 40. Could you install a 9mm barrel? He said yes. So that's pretty cool, because that makes all of a sudden now this gun is something that I'll, want to use for more than just blowing through some ammo and then setting it in the back of the safe. Before I go any farther, full disclosure, Apex Tactical I paid to ship the gun there, but they did the work for free and shipped it back for free. So I didn't pay. They installed an extractor, barrel, and trigger, and I didn't pay for it. So not that it's going to influence what I have to say, but I think it's important to disclose that stuff. So I'll actually read through the spec sheet. I think I got it right here. So I say the stuff correctly. But there's some back and forth talking about it with him. But he installed an Apex grade M&P barrel gunsmith fit. I think that part's important to list, 'cause I think they have a drop-in and then a gunsmith fit barrel. Anyway, this one's a gunsmith fit one that they did. and a M&P 2.0 flat-faced forward set trigger kit in black. The package for that in case someone needs it. I'm pretty sure that's like, that actually focuses. Everything you need to know. But somebody in the comment will have questions in case you want the same thing. And then a failure-resistant extractor. So, unknown if there was going to be issues with the extractor that was in it or not. He just said they'd put a new one in it. Or he was going to test fire it. So I think they shot it a bit because he asked what optic I had on it. And test fired it and must have determined to just install the extractor to be safe. So, quite exciting because now I have a pistol I can shoot 9 or 40 out of and quite a good trigger. I took this thing to the range today and I had all my mags jammed before I got there. It's kind of a cold day. But I had 6 9mm mags loaded, 6 40 caliber mags loaded. Since the 9mm barrel was already in it, I shot that first. No issues as far as failures to extract or feed or anything like that, which I didn't expect there would be. Got the gun zeroed with the 9mm barrel. Nothing crazy. Like I said, it was cold. Kind of just jamming through the mags and shooting doubles and reactive shooting and just kind of observing the gun shooting. But, you know, I had a fairly good, tight little group. So the gun's pretty close to being zeroed with just 115 ball ammo and no issues at all. To change the 40 caliber barrel, all I did was just take the slide off, same recoil spring, dropped in the 40 cal barrel that was with the gun when I got it, and point of impact was roughly the same as the 9mm ammo. I'll have to test that more with different ammos at different distances. I was shooting it mainly like 10 to 15 yards, so nothing super crazy. But for just shooting in some drills, it seemed fine or close enough. But I'll test that in more detail in the future. So it was quite cool that now I actually have a use for this gun beyond just shooting a bunch of 40 caliber ammo, and definitely a gun I will want to keep around for a while. Like I said, no issues at all. And, well, I'll talk through the trigger a little bit, but so as far as triggers go, there's kind of two, well, for Glocks, only 2 aftermarket ones that I've liked, that I've had good experiences with anyway. The factory trigger for Glocks, obviously good to go. Otherwise, the Apex I've used for years and have them in Ben's guns. No issues at all. And lately I tried the tactical trigger. Do the advice or suggestion from my friend Brantley Merriam and Lucas Bodkin, and I like that one too. So having enough rounds through that and seeing other people shoot it, those are kind of the 2 go-tos I have for aftermarket triggers. So very familiar with Apex stuff. Installed them in a bunch of Glocks. Pretty much know what I'm in for, but I'd never tried one in an M&P, and I'd heard people say the M&P kind of has the lightest trigger. If you're gonna put an Apex trigger in, that's the gun that's the best in. So I'll talk through this kind of compared to a Walther dynamic performance trigger. So I think that's really the only thing to compare it to. As far as a little bit of take up or kind of to get to the wall, there's just a minimal amount. Then once you get there, it's pretty crisp. And not, as you can tell, not a lot of movement from the trigger, and the weight is pretty low. One of the CS guys from Apex left me a voicemail, and it'd probably take me too long to find it. But it was under 3 pounds. I think it was like 2 3/4 pounds. He told me the weight in ounces. It was like 2 pounds, 10 ounces, I think is what he said it would be. But it is quite light, quite crisp. A short reset, a crisp trigger. It's quite nice. So I'm looking forward to shooting this gun a bunch. And like I said, now that I have a 9mm barrel, it is something that I'll want to shoot more often. I've got carry concealment is setting me up a holster for it. One of those with the magnets in the nose. I haven't tried one of those yet, so that'll be fun to have one of those. And I'll have a whole kind of a rig set up for it, because I plan to shoot this gun a bit more in the future, especially, like I said, down the road with 9mm, just because a lot of people are interested in this gun, and I think it's kind of fun to, to mess around with it. The only other thing to talk through, there's been one part that I found to be a little bit of a disappointment. That is just the frame or the grip inserts. I really haven't found one I like so far. Every time I take it to the range, I kind of alternate between 2 different ones. And truth be told, before it was like, I'm just going to kind of just shoot it the way it is and just see what I can get out of it or what I can learn. And it's not going to be like a forever pistol. But now that I have some upgrades in it, it's something that I probably plan to shoot more long term. So it makes sense to spend some more attention with the grip stuff and get it sorted out the way I like it. So the issue I have is this is the medium back strap. You can see a height difference between this part and the rest of the grip. The small is the one I've been using just because it feels like there's less of a difference here, but it is just a little bit small. It seems like most trips at the range, regardless of which one of those two I have in it, I'll be kind of thinking, man, when I get home, I'm going to revisit which back strap I want to put in it. And then once I get home, I do the same thing. Grab the box, which has got, let's see, I think there's 4 back straps. Yeah. 1 in the gun, 3 more here. So 4 back straps total. Cycle through them all. Like, well, I think I'll try this one again. Go to the range, shoot that one for a bit, and then while I'm at the range, like, oh, I don't really love this. There's got to be something better. So maybe I'll make a different or second video just talking about the back straps. And I don't know. I'm interested in your input to find the one that fits or that you like. There's a lot of people that are big fans of M&Ps. It's the only part I don't love. Otherwise, the pistol's really been great so far. So today I fired, so I went with 6 mags of 9 and 6 mags of 40 all loaded, ran through all those. Then afterwards I refilled all the sets of 9mm mags twice and shot those. You could do the math. So a decent amount of ammo through it so far. Just want to make sure it's roughly zeroed and see if there's going to be any issues. I didn't expect there would be, but of course, no issues, whether the gun was at like around the chamber and a full magazine, so completely plussed up. If I lock the slide open, let it feed from just hitting the slide catch or slingshot, all the kind of stuff. No issues at all. So the gun hasn't malfunctioned with 9 or 40 at all since I've owned it. It's been awesome. I don't think most police pistols get shot a ton, so looking at the internals, it looks, pretty pristine. But you just never know. Anyway, I've had a good time shooting this gun, and I plan to shoot it a bunch more now that I have a new barrel and a new trigger in it. I am interested in your feedback for the grips. Maybe I'll make a separate video in it. But at any rate, appreciative to Apex Tactical for hooking me up on this. And like I said, I'm not obligated to say nice things or anything like that. So I plan to just shoot it a bunch. And with whatever happens or however it turns out, I'll make videos here just talking about progress and that kind of stuff. It looks like I will likely get to have my contact from Apex in a class. They're kind of close to Phoenix, and I'll be there with Ben in the near future for classes in a couple weeks. So hopefully we'll get to hang out then. I'd be interested just to meet him in person, and I've got a bunch of questions. One of which, well, I guess I should talk about, that I've seen these triggers installed in other guns. This one feels lighter than other guns. It definitely feels lighter than the trigger that's in Ben's gun. So I'm curious if with frames, there's a little bit of a variance, whereas like maybe this frame's newer and as it gets shot more, it sets in or warped or different molds, different generations, 9s, 40s. It's polymer. There could be variance in that. Or if they do something special for, they did hand fit the trigger. Apex did that. So if there's a different process they do to hand fit it or anything like that. So it might be fun if the owner's willing to come on YouTube. It might be fun to make videos. Just any kind of inside baseball as far as installing triggers, things people do wrong. I'm sure there's a lot of talk to be had about safeties or people that accidentally defeat the safeties or drop test stuff. Or like, did you know about fitting barrels? I'm sure there's plenty of interesting stuff to talk about. So I might see if I can get him to do that at some point. See if we can do a video call just to answer questions you have or stuff I'm just curious about anyway. But overall, this thing is super nice. Like I said, the trigger is quite light. It's lighter than, I feel like, most of the triggers I've seen installed in guns. It could just be my imagination also, but it's quite nice. So I'm looking forward to shooting it more. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them below. I'll try my best to answer them. Otherwise, I might be reaching out to see if I can get somebody more knowledgeable than me to speak about them. But at any rate, I'm excited to shoot the gun, and I plan on keeping this gun now for, well, the long term, just because there's a lot of people that like M&Ps. I really like the gun, and especially now that I can shoot 9mm out of it, it'll stay in my rotation of guns. So appreciate you watching. Like, share, subscribe, all that nonsense. I hope you have a good day.